welcome back to Newfoundland and Labrador Studies 2205. This is Unit 3, A Country Grows, Section 4, Lesson 8, on the Great Depression. I'm Miss Fleming, your instructor for this course, so let's talk about it. Newfoundland's public debt increased during the post-war years. This, combined with the Great Depression felt worldwide, further degraded the Newfoundland economy. The Newfoundland government continued to run deficits through the 1920s, raising bank loans to finance developments and pay the interest on the debt. The Great Depression began with the crash of the New York Stock Exchange in 1929, but it affected the global economy thanks to imports, exports, and trade relations. Newfoundland's debt continued to increase until 1933, when the government owed $93 million. Over 60% of its revenue was used to pay interest on its debt. Newfoundland's export-based economy was vastly affected by the Great Depression, especially with the slump in the value of salt cod. Reduced exports meant less money for importing goods and a decrease in government revenues from customs on those goods. This led to high levels of unemployment and what was called the dole. The decline in demand for exports also affected employment in the mines, logging, and paper mills. And with lower demand, wages were reduced and employees were let go. In the fishery, income for fishers and merchants plummeted as well. This, combined with increasing costs to harvest fish, made it difficult for fishers to make ends meet. Some merchants were resistant to provide credit at this time, wary that fishers would not be able to repay them. And with limited options available, thousands of families sought assistance from the government. So, the dole varied over time and place, but usually consisted of food rations totaling to $1.80 per person per month in outport communities. Most people resented this assistance and its limitations. Relief demands pushed the government towards bankruptcy. There were no options to purchase food not on the government list. The only variation was St. John's residents, who were also given vegetables. Outport citizens were expected to grow their own, but St. John's residents didn't necessarily have the space. Relief officers were hired to review people using government assistance. They inspected bank accounts, reduced rations, or cut off relief completely if they learned applicants had any money, vegetables, or other food. And residents were also forced to sell off any possessions of value before receiving more assistance. This, of course, led to growing discontent with the government. Falling wages, unemployment, inadequate government relief, and rampant nutritional disease combined to create a desperate situation for the laboring class. Merchants were also increasingly concerned about the government defaulting on debts. Some began to talk about suspending responsible government and replacing it temporarily with a commission that could put the country's affairs in order. There were allegations of government mismanagement of funds and corruption. Then there was the 1932 riot. The finance minister resigned in 1932 and accused Sir Richard Squires and other members of tax evasion and forgery. Opposition forces were out to get Squires and took advantage of his vulnerability, staging a demonstration on April 5, 1932. Approximately 10,000 people turned up at the Colonial Building to protest the Squires government. The protest then turned violent, and the building was ransacked. Prime Minister Squires barely escaped without injury and was voted out of government in the June election. The government also called in the SS Dragon, which was a British light cruiser, to help prevent further disorder. I want to point out this image below. This was during the riot, which was at the Colonial Building. Up above in that photo, as two boys who actually were stealing an oil stove from a shop on Water Street. So now it's time to review. I'm going to ask you to please complete the activities in Brightspace, and I hope you have a great day.